Philly, 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 Philly. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to the Fresh Prince. Shout out to Freeway. Shout out to the Fresh Prince. Summer, summer, summertime. Listen, I don't care how much Will Smith get cheated on. I don't care how bald his girl goes. It's always going to be summer, summer, summertime. Ooh, summertime. It's always going to be summertime all across the world. That is the anthem for the summer. There is never going to be a greater anthem for the summertime than summers. Shout out to Will Smith with the summertime anthem. Shout out to Freeway, Philly. Shout out to my dog, Freeway. It's the Rock in the building, yeah. Even though Cassidy did beat you down in that battle, but Freeway is in the building. Shout out to the Beanie Siegel. Shout out to the Beans. Shout out to, who else is from Philly? Lil Uzi Vert. Y'all got some sass in Philly. But the Philly commissioner apparently decided to resign. Woman, tired of what was going on out in these streets. I guess she said, I'm not built for it. Let's go ahead and get into the story, and then I'm going to give you all my thoughts. I'm going to make sure that y'all stay up to date on what's happening out here in these streets.
Today, Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw announced she is resigning. Outlaw will be leaving in a few weeks to take a new job in law enforcement. She's faced a number of challenges.
First of all, this is how I want to see my women. I don't want to see no men leading off with the news, going into the next story like we did in Atlanta. I want to see my women shapely. I want to see them like a Coke bottle. I want to see them. I like my women shapely. This is what I want to see leading into my story. I'm sorry, I didn't want to get y'all distracted. Let's continue.
Challenges during her 3.5 years in Philadelphia, from struggles with recruitment to police reform and concerns over officers' mental health. Danielle Outlaw took over as police commissioner in February of 2020, becoming the first black woman to be commissioner of the department. About a month later, Corporal James O'Connor was shot and killed while serving a warrant. He was the first officer killed in the line of duty in 5 years. Shortly after that, the pandemic hit, followed by civil unrest in the wake of the killing of George Floyd. Both she and Mayor Kenney received backlash for authorizing the use of tear gas during protests. Less than a year into the job, that following January, Outlaw said she would not resign over her department's handling of the protests. There were more calls for reform and transparency just last month after a police officer shot and killed 17-year-old Eddie Irizarry in Kensington. NBC 10 Sydney Law.
Kensington, huh? Let's continue.
Is live in Center City now. And Sid, you spoke to anti-violence groups as well as residents about their concerns.
Well, hey, Jackie, good afternoon to you indeed.
What do y'all think that the Philly residents and the anti-violence groups and the protesters and the counties and all of this, what do y'all think that they're going to say before we get into it? I have not seen this video. I do not know what is going to be said. What do y'all think is going to be conveyed as far as the sentiment of the people now that the first woman Philly commissioner is resigning from her post, especially after the way that they felt as though she handled the protesters and they was trying to get them up out of there? Listen, get on up out of there. The one thing that I couldn't understand about the pandemic protesters is, why did we allow for that to continue to happen when we was all supposed to be 6 feet? You couldn't go into your job. You couldn't stand in an elevator with anybody. You couldn't go to the bank. You couldn't do nothing. Nothing. You couldn't go and open up your barbershop. But everybody could hug, fight, spit, yell, throw all of their germs in the air like outbreak, not wear no mask because they was allegedly outside. And everybody was able to gather together and do what they wanted to do in the name of protesting, but nobody tripped about it. And that made sense. Nobody was supposed to be anywhere close to each other. I seen structures erecting up at the cashiers, at the grocery stores. It was plexiglass everywhere. It was more plexiglass that was being sold than I've ever seen in my entire life. But everybody was sitting around protesting with each other. But I want to see what the people got to say.
We did. Lots of people from all corners of the city are reacting and reflecting today about Commissioner's outlaw tenure here in the city. They're also voicing what their hopes are.
Now, remember, they didn't like her when she was in office. They didn't like her. Back then, you didn't want me. Back then, you didn't want me. They didn't like her when she was in office. I'm going to be reading those super chats shortly.
For her replacement, as well as the future of curbing violent crime in a city of brotherly love.
From North Philadelphia.
Well, I think she's been doing a good job.
To South Philly.
God bless her for getting the opportunity to get out of the city.
City residents are
That white woman said, God bless her for the opportunity to get up out of this joint. God bless her for the opportunity to get up out of the city. She did her time like it's a prison sentence.
reacting to news that Philadelphia Police Commissioner
Hey, she kind of cute, though, on the low, though.
Danielle Outlaw is resigning.
Honestly, I just think that's kind of how the nature of that business goes.
Nothing but amazing things.
Outlaw was the city's first black female commissioner. She's been here 3.5 years. She is leaving Philly to work for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in the agency's office of the chief security. This as it streamlines technology and innovative security initiatives.
I wasn't surprised.
Anton Moore is the executive director of Philly's Unity in the Community.
I can't say she did a bad job. That's a tough job. Being police commissioner, I'm a realist, and I understand that. A police commissioner cannot stop a person from shooting a gun.
It comes as Philly's homicide rate is down right now 20% compared to this time last year. The city has seen 295 murders as of yesterday. We had 369 this same time last year and a total of 516 homicides in 2022.
Police officer.
Outlaw's departure also happens to follow fallout of the department's admitted mishandling of the events leading up to and following a police officer shooting Eddie Irizarry.
Usually when a new mayor is coming in, you know what I mean, the old commissioner usually go. I mean, look at Ramsey. He served 8 years under Michael Nutter. Kenny came in. He moved on.
Moore says whoever takes over, there must be teamwork and what he calls a bottom to the top approach.
And when I say the bottom, working with community leaders, working with everyday neighborhoods, of course gaining trust with community stakeholders and everyday neighbors to make this work.
A lot of times people don't really understand. And I honestly, I think that she made the best decision. I think she made a very, 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 shout out to AL. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. I think that she made a very smart decision. You know what she did? You know what she did? I'm going to tell you exactly what she did. She made a decision that was based off of business. 100% business. She served her time long enough to actually be able to leverage the position that she had, add it to her resume, and then be able to move on to something that I'm sure is less stressful and much more lucrative as a result of it. From the very beginning, see, let me tell you what the difference is, right? For some reason, y'all think that a lot of these positions and a lot of these jobs is based off of community service and community leadership. It's not. It's not. And that's why it's very difficult for you to get somebody that's actually worth their salt to take these positions, because it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, but then you're not even properly compensating me, or you're not really adding, you know what I'm saying, making sure that the amount of money that I'm making is worth the stress that comes along with the job. And so what the smart people do is they leverage it and they use it in order to really leapfrog into the thing that they're supposed to do, or to have some level of job security. But as far as all of this working with community leadership and all of this, yeah, they probably will. Yeah, it's a possibility that that'll happen. But the reality is that I'm here for a short time, not a long time. I'm here for a short time and not a long time. And so now she made sure that she was over there interviewing. She took her PTO time. She did a second and a third interview. She had the credentials. She was there for 3 years, enough to get some time under her belt and to get some small victories and build some relationships, negotiated, and then they're going to pay you more to leave than they would in order for you to still be there. Do you know that the majority of presidents don't even really start getting the bag until they leave their job? Did you know that the majority of governors, Jennifer Granholm, largely credited with managing through all of the trash that then became Michigan that future governors had to then navigate through in order to continue to clean up the mess, right? Led Michigan right on down into the toilet until we had to come on out of it on our own, right? Jennifer Granholm then became a lot of these presidential cabinets and was teaching over at some of the most prestigious universities and continued to secure the bag. Little cute white woman leveraged the fact that she was at Michigan or she was a Michigan governor to continue to run up the bag in other places. A lot of these women are very smart. They're very, very smart. They're not necessarily built for and suited for these jobs. There's no way in the world that I would ever advocate for any woman that I know to have to be subjected to becoming a police commissioner, especially of Philly. Shout out to Kensington Avenue. But the reason that she did it is not necessarily because it was best for her from a I want to fix things perspective. The reason that she did it is because it was best for her for her future endeavors in her bag. And that's why I believe that she did it. Yep, Secretary of Energy. You are absolutely correct. That's why she did it. And so most of these positions and most of these situations where you get a mayor, you get a police commissioner, y'all get these elected officials, you got all of these people, always think about what the long-term vision of that purpose is. You get a county prosecutor, right? You get a person that's all of these positions are for sale, man.
Now, Commissioner Danielle Outlaw did send a letter to all Philadelphia police officers this morning. It reads in part, quote, "Together, we have proven that we are unbreakable and we have endured the most challenging times in the chronicles of policing."
Absolutely, you have. And now it's time to move on to something in greener pastures, something less stressful, something that you ain't got to keep you up at night. You ain't got to worry about getting up in the middle of the night to go and do a press conference. None of that type of stuff, right? And so for all of these people that think that these positions are not for sale, they absolutely are. And y'all need to look at every situation as a business instead of looking at it based off of what can you do for the community, because the community is not going to do anything for you. They need to do it for themselves. You are there to do a job. You are not there to be the job. Your job does not define you. It is a way for you to continue to bring in resources and then for you to level up in order to continue to take care of your family. This woman executed flawlessly. Came in at a bad time, managed through a crisis, went through the pandemic, and then right when she was facing more scrutiny, she went and got another job so that she can move on and move up. Smart move. Get on up out of there.